to Unraveled Game Thoughts. We have Scholars of the South Tigris. I'm not going to promise a full playthrough here, but wanted to introduce the game for those who are not familiar and a little run through of a few turns. So I have this set up for solo, and a lot of the gameplay in and of itself tends to operate fairly similar to solo. When you see my turns, you'll kind of understand general how the flow of the game goes. The solo mode is just an AI that runs, and gathers resources, and we'll run through some of the components and parts here, and then get started with some gameplay. So here we have the main board. Let me see if I can get my screen a little bit more focused here. And up here we have translators, and each deck of translators is associated with a particular scroll. If we scroll in on the or zoom in on the translators, we can see this is Greek, Hebrew, Syriac, Persian, Hebrew again, Greek, Sanskrit, and Chinese. So there's some duplicates here. Interesting. And I was going by the first name, but I don't know that that's 100% across the board. So we have various languages, obviously, the Sanskrit, Chinese, Greek, Hebrew, Persian, and Arabic. Arabic is a language we are translating into. So ultimately, when we're translating a scroll, we have to get from whatever language we're starting in all the way to Arabic. So let's say we were trying to do a Chinese. This guy can translate from Chinese to Hebrew. Well, then we'd need a Hebrew to Syriac, and then from Syriac we could go to Arabic if this guy was in the translating room. Now, down here are the translators who have been hired. In the solo game, there are neutral translators, and for all intents and purposes, the solo AI controls those translators. I have influence on one translator. I've done all the setup, and one of the things you'll get to do at the start of the game is influence one translator. So if you have a 4-player game, each player will have influence over one of the translators in play. These translators have to be paid when they translate. If we look at the top of each room, starting from right to left, we can see 1 gold, 1 gold, 2 gold, 2 gold, 2 gold, all the way up to this room here, which is 3, 3, 3. So those are the amount of gold that those translators, once paid, will retire, and then you'll generally, now these starting translators you won't flip over, but generally you can flip them over, and they become bonus actions on your board. We'll get into that in a little bit later. If we can get up to at least one of those being retired, then that'll help us out. Okay. Next section of the board here, we'll go to this section, and this is the map. And there are 6 different scrolls in this map, and there's a path around the map. So one of the actions you can take is to travel. And when you travel around this path, you'll either land on a white space or a black space. The black spaces will give you the opportunity to pay to move a scroll to the House of Wisdom where it can be translated. The white spaces will give you resources of some sort. And you'll notice that there's sometimes a colored path along the trail here. If when you are moving from wherever you're starting from to another space, if the color of your action matches one of the paths that you're crossing, then you will get to take a bonus action, which is whatever. So if in this case, we scroll in here on the map, if we were to go from here to say here and we took an orange action, we would get 2 coins in addition to wherever we, like if we landed here, we could move this scroll over, so forth and so on. When you move a scroll over, you're going to get to move up the resource track indicated on the scroll. Whenever you place that scroll, you're also going to get 1 influence in whatever house you place the scroll in, and you're going to get a gold. If you place a scroll in these top areas, you'll get 2 influence in the house you place it in and a gold as well. But these are filled at the beginning of the game, so you have to wait till something's translated before you can get the double influence from placing them there. Now, when you translate a scroll, you will also get to move up the resource track of the scroll you translated. So in theory, you could, if you were to move a scroll from here to here, you'd get an influence on that track, and then if you translated that same scroll later on another turn, you would get to move up that track twice. So there's a couple of opportunities to move up resource tracks. There's also, this is, as I've said, the resource track, and if you take an action of the resource track, you can, based on your die color, so whatever the color of your action is the resource track you will move up, and you could potentially move up once or twice. You might have to pay a gold to do it, depending on the number or the power of your action, and you could also get some coins potentially as well. When you move up this resource track, there are 2 types of spaces. There's sort of the shaded in space, and then there's like a clear space. And the shaded in spaces indicate the income you receive if you trigger income for that particular resource track. So right now I'm starting the game on the bottom of all these tracks, and if I was to trigger income on any of them, it would be this bottom space. This one I've moved up 1 space because of my starting resources, but I'm going to trigger the income lowest that it's closest to. If I had been here, then I would trigger this income, but since I'm here, I'm just going to trigger the one below it. Whenever you move to these clear spaces, you are going to get that bonus right away. So moving to here immediately got me a gold as soon as that moved up to there. At the end of the game, you're going to get points based on how high you are on each of these tracks. So if you were able to get to the top of all the tracks, which I don't know if that's possible, you get 5 points across the board. Next one down is 4, 3, 2, and then 1. So it's fairly feasible to get at least 1 point from each of the tracks, but to get points or more than 1, I think I've gotten 5 for 1 track, but I've never gotten more than I think 1 up to 5 in a single game. Next over here we have the I guess Houses of Wisdom, purple, orange, and green. And at the top there's an indicator, there's a place for whoever has the most wisdom in that house. I'll explain Caliph cards later, but that's going to impact scoring at the end of the game for all intents and purposes. Each House of Wisdom can hold up to 3 cards. If there's no space for a card in a particular House of Wisdom, then you cannot put a card there. Whenever you put a card here, you're going to pay 4 coins. You'll get the influence, you get the gold. You will also be acquiring influence on the house up here. So right now yellow, or the AI, has an influence there. Because they're the only one with influence there, they're the leader influence. In order for me to take leadership of that house, I would actually have to put 2 down because they were there first. If I have 1 down, they would still be in first because they were the first one there. But the more I get, the better off I get. At the end of the game, you'll score either 1, 2, or 3 points for having the most influence in that house. It's not a lot of points, just a little something. What else do we need to know about Houses of Wisdom? Up here at the top of the houses, these are spaces for the Caliph cards, and these kind of are an in-game trigger. Once the 4th Caliph card comes out, you'll finish that round, you'll play 1 more round, and then that'll be the game over. There are certain things that can be triggered when the Caliph cards come out. This first one triggers nothing, and then these sort of underpinning actions are basically kind of general things that speed the game up or put some more translators out, so forth and so on. Or you put gold on top of every starting translator. and you get a coin for every retired translator you have. That's a starting translator. So there's some bonuses there. When a Caliph card comes out, you're going to look at each of these houses, and you're going to see who is winning for each house. So usually the first one is going to be a endgame point scoring. Well, actually, is that the same for all of them? Each one, I think, if you have the most influence in that house, it's going to give you some endgame points on the Caliph card. It's usually like 3, I think. And then when we get down to the bottom area, usually it's the third one. It's some kind of ability. So it's usually like straight in-game points for the purple. Orange tends to be in-game point, like 1 in-game point, and then something else. And then if you influence the last, you move your leader token from the green to this Caliph card, then you'll get some kind of a bonus. If you have influence in a House of Wisdom, but you don't actually have enough to get onto the Caliph card, then you will get this sort of secondary bonus, getting a worker of any color, a coin of any color, or gold, depending on which house it's in. The scrolls themselves, when translated, will give you endgame victory points for all intents and purposes. If there's an influence on the scroll, then any other player interacting with it has to pay you a coin in order to interact with that scroll. Otherwise, they cannot interact with the scroll. For the purposes of solo play, you can either choose, if you influence a card, you can either choose to let the AI pay you, or you get a coin from the bank, and then you allow the AI to take the scroll, or you can choose to pay a coin and keep the AI from interacting from a card that you've influenced. Endgame points are going to be it depends on each card. So they're pretty easy to read, though. So at the very top, you're going to get, that's your outright points for the card if you have translated it. The second action is going to be, and I bet if I do these 3, it probably makes sense how these endgame scoring work. So every purple die you have at the end of the game will give you 1 point. If you have 4 blue die, you'll get 2 points. And whenever you get this card, if you translate it, you immediately get a purple die. This one will give you a point for every Sanskrit scroll you have translated, including this one. So technically it's 5, plus it'll be an automatic 6 because it's going to give a point for itself. And then you're also, when you obtain the card, when you translate the card, you will get a bonus move up this orange track. So actually, you would get 2 moves of the orange track if you were to do this. This one, you're going to get 2 points plus 4 to, if you've gone up 4 to 6 spaces on the orange track, you'd get 2. If you've gone up 7 spaces, you would get 4. So 2 plus 4 or 2 plus 2. It's one or the other. You're not going to get both, I don't believe. And then these are the translating rooms. I think I talked about them. Whenever you hire a translator, you're going to move it. You're going to hire that translator from up here. You're going to either hire or dismiss it. If you hire it, you're going to pay the coin cost for whichever room you're putting it in. You're going to put it in that room, and you're going to get the bonus in the upper right. For the translators themselves, you can also dismiss them. If you dismiss them, you will get this bonus in the upper right of the translator, and you'll just remove the translator from the game. This section on the bottom of the translator indicates when they retire, what is the additional bonus they would potentially give you when they retire. And that is, for all intents and purposes, most of what you're doing in this game. Now, each time you take an action, you have a hand of cards. You're going to be playing a card from your hand, and you're going to pick one of the 4 main actions. You also have this space here, which is either a travel or hire translator action. If you unlock this card, then you will unlock these actions here. So you'll have a research or translate action. In addition to the other ones you have, you have to do each of these things, you have to interact with this translator. You have to interact with the translate a scroll from the purple guild, and you have to get up 3 spaces on the blue track. So I'd have to get up to here, and once I do that, I'll get that purple die in my bag, and I will get to, does it go to my bag? I think it does. Yep, goes to my bag. It does not go to my hand. It would have a little hand there if it went to my hand, but it goes to the bag. So you play a card, and then you can put up to 2 die, and then you can influence the die with workers. So I'm going to explain how the die influence works. If I just play 1 die, say I play a white 6, that's all I'm going to have. It's a white 6, that's the color and power of my action. If I put 2 die on a card, let's say I have a 2 and a 5, then this is a white 7, so it's got no color. Now if I was to have 1 yellow worker on there, it would become a yellow 7, because any color will influence the whole thing. Now if I put a yellow here, and I can influence each die with up to 2 workers. Let's say I put a yellow here, and I made this a yellow 2, and let's say for kicks and giggles I made this a blue 5. Well, the blue 5 and the yellow 2 are going to combine for a green 7, because it's blue and yellow and they mix to make green. That does not work if I'm doing this. So technically this does nothing. Basically it would change my 2 to a yellow, and then it would change it to a blue. For all intents and purposes, that's all that would happen. I wouldn't use a 2 different color die with a white die. What you want to do, and why you might use 2 workers, is let's say I had a white worker. So if I put a white worker on this 2, now that immediately bumps whatever the die value is, it bumps up to 6 because it's the same color worker. If I had, say, a yellow 1 here, and I was to put a yellow worker, same color worker as the die, now this yellow becomes a 6 and this white becomes a 6. So if it was just these 2 workers and these 2 die, I'd have a yellow 12. That would be the power of my action. But let's say I want to do more. Let's say I really need purple. That is the color I need. I don't even know if I can get purple out of this. Yeah, I could. So I've got that. Let's say I had a red worker, and I put my red worker to influence the white die. So now it is a red 6. White makes it 6. Red makes it red. And then I need this to be something different. So I'm going to make this a blue die. So it was a yellow 6. Now it's a blue 6. So my blue 6 and my red 6 go together to make a purple 12. And I can take a purple action. Even if I didn't have the white in there, this is now a red 2. This is a yellow or a blue 6. So that would be a purple 8 in that case. So hopefully that makes sense. Secondary colors always override primary colors. So if I use a, say whatever color die I use, let's say I had a yellow there, and I ended up having an orange die. This without any workers on it, that would be an orange 7, because secondary color of orange overrides the primary color of yellow. And white would be overridden by any primary or secondary color, with secondary being the highest tier of that. So that is how you influence the die with workers and use the colors to your advantage. So I think as the player, starting player, I go first. I've got a blue worker and these 4 white die I'm starting with. Those are my starting resources. The translator I chose to influence had this card below them, and so that's how I determine which starting resources I get. Unfortunately, I really would love to translate a scroll in the purple guild, but I'd have to have purple to do that. And I don't have any way to get purple right now. So I may just need to go after some resources. I could go after that gal there and interact with her. There's no translator out there, and Hebrew to Syriac is not going to hurt, and it's also her bonus is getting a influence in the Green Guild, which is not a bad bonus to have. So let's hire a translator. So what I will do to hire the translator, I'm going to take this action. It doesn't matter which card I choose per se, but I want to, I guess for all intents and purposes, get my engine going. I'm going to have to pay some coins for hiring that translator. So I'm going to go ahead and use this action. Now the downfall of this action, it's going to give me a bonus of either 2 coins or a gold. And in this case, because I'm going to have to spend some coins to hire the translator, I'm going to go ahead and take 2 coins. And when I do my rest action, which won't be until I've used most of my die up, I am going to have to gain a white die into my bag, which is not necessarily great. I want to get colored dye by the end of the game, but since this is the beginning of the game, I'm not going to worry about it too much. I just really want to hire the translator that I want to hire, and the number of the die matters, so it's a 3 power to hire her. That's all I really need. So I'm going to go over here, and I think I'm going to use these 2 die together for a power 3 action, and that will allow me to hire her. So we're going to flip her over, and I really want to put her in one of these lower rooms, but you know what? I don't want to spend coins if I can avoid it, although this gives me a yellow die, not bad, lets me draw, gets me a colored worker. If I had a red worker, I could potentially interact with the red guild, so you know what? I am going to go here. Yeah, I'm gonna go there since I'm playing that translator. I'm gonna gain I put influence to indicate that that's my translator, and I need to get to 2 dice out of the bag, so I'm gonna roll those and put those off to the side here, and I also get a worker of my choice, so I'm gonna take this red worker and tilt the camera, and that is my hire a translator action. So it cost me 2 die. I had to spend some resources. I got to take a little bit of a hit when I do a rest action, but that is I feel reasonably good getting set up for that. So now it's the AI's turn, and AI's turn is pretty easy. They're gonna flip over a card like most Garfield games. It's not terribly hard. Their coin value here is 2, so I'm going to go 1, 2, and this just gives me an idea of like some things I'm focusing on color, translator, translation scroll. In this case, I'm looking to see, are there 6 translators? If there were, I would do this top action. There aren't, so I'm going to be looking for this bottom action. I'm going to hire a translator equal to the die sum. So the die sum is 2, or I'm going to put the translator in a room with 2. He's going to try to hire a translator that's not already there. This guy is not already there. So if I go up here, here he is. I can pull him down. And I'm looking for the room with a die sum of 2. There isn't one. So then I raise the die sum to 3 and come backwards. And we're going to put him there. It's a neutral translator. He doesn't get anything else, he just gets that, but that gives him another translator that he's working with. So we'll come back over to me, and the question is, could I translate this purple scroll? Well, I'd need a coin to pay him, which I would have. Oh, you know what? I forgot to pay the 4 coins for that room. So let me pay those 4 coins that I forgot to pay last turn. And there we go. Okay. So if I have a coin, I could pay him to translate the scroll. I just have to be able to translate from Greek. So what we have to see is, do we have enough translators here that we could translate from Greek to Arabic? Well, we can get from Greek to Persian, and we can get from Greek to Syriac, but we can't get from Syriac to Arabic. So what we're going to need is another translator, honestly. And if I'm going to do that, I'm probably going to try to build up to being able to translate that purple scroll. I think that would be pretty handy. The other thing I did, and I forgot to point this out, is since I interacted with her, which is this one, the reason I did that is so that I could unlock this worker here. That is pretty handy to me. Oh, I've got a yellow action. Where's our guy up here? If we cross here, we can influence a card. Not bad. Gets us a gold, gets us a die, also not bad. We have die in the bag, we got 1 die in the bag. I need a translator, and I need to get from, there's Hebrew, do I have, okay, Greek, I can use one of his translators to get from Greek to Syriac, but we've got to get from Syriac to Arabic, which is this guy here is the guy for that. So I think I may need to hire another translator. Which of these do I want to really focus on? Well, red might be the best one. I really like green though too. I'm gonna go with red. So I'm gonna take this red one, and we're gonna take the hire a translator action. And what's the value of this? We need to get up, need to be at 5 at least. So we're gonna come over here. I don't really want to use this 5, but I'm gonna use this 5. And I'm gonna put that there. And all I need is the value. So I am going to go ahead and hire this guy, and I'm going to put him into here. Lets me influence a card. We're going to flip him over and put that on him. And we get, if I retire him, he'll be able to influence cards as a bonus action. So that's not bad. I will take it, and I think that's it for my action. So then we're going to flip over a card for him. Got another red. He's going to move forward 1 because the coin at the top says 1. Let's see, are there 5 translators? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I wonder if there were 6 last time and he could have taken a top action. Probably should have counted it. But there are 5 now, so he's going to influence the purple guild because that's what his thing is on. And he's going to put a gold on the first neutral translator starting from the right. So we're going to do this, and the first neutral translator is going to be this one. Gets a gold, and he's going to put an influence in the purple guild, like so. And actually, he's the first one there, so he's going to go up there. Voila. Then we will come down and take our turn. That's it for him. Pretty quick, pretty simple for the AI. You're just trying to beat their score. All right. One of the things I didn't mention at the beginning of the game is I started with this starting scroll, which was, I forget what that was based on. I think it was my card here. Nope. Honestly, I can't remember. Oh, it's because she's the translator on my gold card, and so I grab her, and she's my starting scroll. That's what it is. So all the starting scrolls are virtually the same. 3 points. every 2 coins turns into a gold, every 2 gold turns into a point. If you have 6 or more die, you're going to get -3 points for every 6 white die you have in your bag or in your whole tableau at the end of the game. So, let's see. Still have the option of interacting with that purple scroll. They haven't taken it. And now I can potentially translate from Syriac to Arabic. Well, I think for the purposes, I don't know if it's the best action, but I'm going to go ahead and do it because I think it helps me. I need to translate a scroll. And to translate a scroll, we are going to, first of all, I got to decide which of these rest actions, when it's my final turn, I actually want to take. I'm going to be moving up this category here, so that's probably the one I want to take. So I'm going to grab this and we're going to put it on the translate action. And now all I need is purple. Nothing else really matters that much except that I have purple. So if I do a blue and a red there, like so, then I will be golden, and that's a purple action, 5 purple, and I can translate this scroll. Now, the AI has influence on it, so that matters. I have to pay him. Well, I technically pay him. So I have to pay a coin, which I can do, no problem, and to interact with that scroll. And then whenever he gets a coin, this goes here. The other thing I have to do is actually translate the scroll. So we have the scroll here, and I'll just move it over here so it's next to my board. And we're translating from Greek. So let's see if we can do that. Now we need to pay a translator to go from Greek to something else. Well, at some point I want to use one of my own translators. So I can either go Greek to, well, I want to get to Syriac is what I want to get. So we need to get Greek to Syriac, which this guy can do. This one can too, and it's not going to retire his translator right away. So we're going to go with that one. And then we have to go from Syriac to Arabic. So we're going to use my translator for that one and pay a gold to him. So now we have effectively translated our scroll from Greek to Arabic. I'm going to get to move up 1 in this category, and that's going to be here. That allows me to get rid of a white die. I can get it from anywhere. I'm going to actually remove a white die in my bag, put it back in the supply. And what else am I doing? I interacted with the Purple Guild, which gives me a blue worker, which is also very nice. And that is translating a scroll. All right. Okay. So we're going to go over to the AI's turn. We're going to flip the card. He's going to look for 3 scrolls in the houses. There's only 2 scrolls up here. So he wants to travel. And he travels. He doesn't actually move a thing, but he is going to travel, I believe, his target distance. He's going to go clockwise based on his number here, 3. Well, he wants to target a Persian scroll, I believe, is what his goal is. So he's going to see if he can travel to a Persian scroll. So technically, without moving this, he's going 1, 2, 3, 4. There is no Persian scroll. So then he would try to target a Syriac scroll. Do we have a Syriac scroll? We do have a Syriac scroll. So technically, he is going to here, and he's going to get this Syriac scroll and put it over here. It's going to give him 2 influence in the house of purple, which he already had a lead there. And what else? He's got 2 influence in the house purple. He would get a coin, which is going to move this forward 1. And he would normally get a gold, but I don't think he collects gold. So I don't think we have to worry too much about that. But that's his travel action. And he moved a scroll, and whenever he moves a scroll, we have to replace that scroll, like so. And then we'll come over to me, and I would like to move up on this track here, but I would need 2 coins. No, I don't need 2 coins. I need a gold, or I need a power of 8, which I'm not sure I can obtain at this time. So I think I'm just going to demonstrate a rest action, because that is going to at least give us an idea of what that looks like. So for a rest action, I'm going to reveal the bottom scroll card. It's probably be easier when it's not on TTS, but we're going to pick that up. We're going to, oops, which one of these? There it is. Okay. There's our bottom scroll card. And what we do is we reveal the scroll card. And if it was a Caliph card, we would move it up to here, and we would do a Caliph event, and then we would reveal another one. It's a Persian card. So we're going to look at the value at the top here, which is 1. And we're going to go move this 1. We're going to skip white spaces. We're going to count 1. And because there's no influence here, we're just going to take this Greek scroll, and we're going to move it over here to the first available house. We have to put it in the highest available room, which it doesn't, it's equal, so it can just go there. And then we'll put this Persian scroll here, and that is that. So that is the first part of my rest action. The second one is I'm going to gain income. So I'm going to look at this first one, and I have to gain a white die. So I'm going to grab a white die from up there and put it in my bag. The next thing on my income is to gain a coin. So that's pretty simple. I just gain a coin, and you do have to do these income in left to right order. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the track here. I could pay a worker and gain a gold. Well, that is not bad, and I have a white worker to pay. So we're going to pay the white worker, and we're going to gain a gold, like so. And we'll put that down here. And then we'll go over to this track, and we are going to trigger that track, which is gain any worker. Now the question is, what do I want to do? What I really want to get up that blue track, and I'd like as many opportunities to get up that as possible to get that last card unlocked. So we're going to get another blue worker and hope that that helps us out. And the last thing we do is trigger the blue one, which is gonna right now just let us draw 4 die out of our bag. So right now we have 1 die in our bag. So the first thing we do, or actually we don't draw 4 die, we draw up to our die of 4. So now we're at 2, but since we're at our die value, we take all the die off of our deal here, and we're going to put that into our bag, and then we'll draw up to that final 4. So get that in there. Not really shuffle. We'll do this. We'll roll, and that's our die value. So there we go. And then we get these workers off of here. You know, that's how that works. So we're going to put this here, take that off. These cards return to our hand, and these workers will go back to their respective bags. I'm just going to stick them up here to get them out of the way. And that is our rest action. We are done. Now for Solo, and this worked out well, he's got 3 cards that are the same color. So he's going to take a rest action now, and when he takes a rest action, let me double check. Huh. There was a card that Oh, there it is. So he's going to reveal the bottom scroll card just like I would. No difference there. And he's going to pull that out. Flip. It's a Hebrew. It says 3, so he's going to go 1, 2, 3. And this Chinese scroll is then going to come there, and that's going to go there. So he's done his card piece, and then if move influence marker on board left or right, so he had all red cards, so his die sum is going to go here, and I picked the highest level of solo here, so he started over pretty far. And then he's going to gain the benefits based on the number of scheme cards revealed. So he is going to do this. He's got 3, or he's on the green, and he gets to influence a guild, and he's going to influence a card. And he wants to influence a Syriac card if he can, so he's going to influence the green guild, and then he's going to look for a Syriac card. There's one there. So he's going to also influence that. And that is his rest action. For all intents and purposes, he's going to take these, and we'll flip them, put them on the pile, shuffle everything up, and that's his turn. And then it would be my turn again, and essentially we're going to rinse and repeat the same process. There's quite a few playthroughs available on YouTube right now, so I'm going to stop there. But I probably will do a extended video later. If you want to see me finish this game, I'll probably come back later and try to finish it and see how it ends. But for now, that is an intro to Scholars of the South Tigris. Thanks for joining me with Unraveled Game Thoughts, and have a great day.